Hi Earthlings, I'm Trice. In this video, I am going to explain the basics of how to harness the power of the law of attraction to bring you anything that you desire. A husband, a baby, fancy stuff, anything, faster than you can say, hell yes. I'm just working so hard and I can never get ahead. You might have a money block. Uncover hidden money blocks with the worksheet below. The universe works in efficiency. It tries to bring you what you want as fast as possible, but it doesn't work the way we are taught. We are taught when we want to get things that it's a linear process. I do A, then B happens, then C happens. The universe, when it brings you something, it looks more like a ping ball machine or a pinball machine just kind of going everywhere, and you can't really connect the dots going forward. You only can connect them looking back.
Which makes me wonder if Steve Jobs believed in the law of attraction.
And knowing this basic of this framework will make it easier to have trust and faith. So the first step is you have to learn how to ask for what you want. This is a learned skill. Anybody can do it. When I was manifesting my $5,000 Chanel watch, I had to learn how to tell people, hey guys, I want a watch that costs as much as my yearly rent. It seemed so absurd and so out of proportion with the reality that I grew up in that you could just ask for things like this. So I had to find a way inside of myself that allowed me to get those words out of my mouth and make my intention known. And for me, it came off as playful, and I call it hiding behind the truth, meaning this makes me feel really uncomfortable, but hey, I want this watch. And now that I possess this superpower, I can see how helpful it is in my life and how it can also hold people back. So many of my clients are afraid of asking for a raise. They're afraid that they're going to get more work. I'm like, guys, let me tell you something about raises. People don't get them for doing sucky jobs. They do an amazing job and then they get the raise. If you look at it that way, the raise is a reward for past efforts, not new efforts. But so many people struggle with, oh, I'm going to have more work, more responsibility, and so they never ask. Even last night, I was doing my Uncover Hidden Money Blocks workshop, and the client was talking about how she wanted to learn how to manage her money well. And the thing that popped in my mind is my course on how to manage money. Now, my previous self would have been like, I could not offer that to her. I mean, what's she gonna think of me? She's already bought the first course. Now I'm selling her the second course in the first course. How sleazy. But I learned how to ask her. I said, do you think this course added value? You don't have to say it out loud. Do you think that you're going to be $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 richer by the end of the year for taking this course? You don't have to say it out loud. But she was saying, yes, yes, yes. I said, well, if you think that, then you might get a lot of value out of this money management course. I had to find a way that was comfortable for me to ask her. I try to showcase several different ways because asking can be extremely difficult for people. Even just asking for help, even just asking the neighbors to borrow their sugar pan.
A sugar what?
Even asking the neighbors for a couple eggs so you can finish making your cookies without going to the store. This can be challenging. So if you find you struggle with this, just practice. Now that you got that, this next step should be a lot easier, but it does trip a lot of people up. The second basic principle to master the law of attraction is just to be open to receive. And oh my goodness, this is so devilishly tricky. A lot of people would think, yeah, I'd happily receive $1 million. Yeah, I'm open to receive. But are we? How do you deal with compliments? Do you absorb them with grace and happiness, or do you shrug them off and tell the person that they must be mistaken? How do you accept praise at work? With rainbows in your heart? Or like, yeah, I could have done better on that? I even have a client, she's a grown woman and has grown daughters, 40 years old. And the daughters love their mother. And the mother constantly was rejecting their gifts, saying they can't afford it, they should spend the money on themselves. These are modest gifts, taking their mother out for dinner. It was the mother's 60th birthday, doing something exciting and inviting her on a trip together. And she's like, well, they're spending time with me and that's gift enough, so I should pay for the trip for everybody, even though it was wildly out of her price range. And she couldn't see another perspective until I showcased it like this. She was an excellent gift giver. It was one of the things that brought her the most joy. So I asked her to pretend with me. I said, pretend like you are giving me a gift, and I'm going to react in 2 ways. She presented me with a gift, and I was overjoyed. I loved it. How did you know I love flowers? These are going to look so great in my sunroom with the sunshine flittering on them. Mwah! You are a goddess. That was my first reaction. My second reaction was, please, I really, really appreciate the gesture, but this is not necessary. Please take them back. I'd rather that you spend the money on yourself. I mean, it speaks for itself, right? One makes the other person feel pretty sucky. So if you struggle with this, just practice saying yes and thank you. Now this last step will look hard at first, but I'm going to show you how to make it wickedly easy. The third step to get the basics of the law of attraction in order so you're effortlessly able to follow the signs is to learn how to let go. I'm sure you've heard let go, let go, let go before. I said to myself, I don't want to let go. I want what I want. And I'm here to tell you, you do not have to let go of what you want. That's the whole purpose of wanting what you want, so that you can get it and not let go of it. What you are learning to let go of how you're going to get what you want. I've told the story about how I manifested my baby. And I wanted to do it naturally, and I had all these rules for how the baby was going to come. But I kept hearing signs from the universe to do IVF, which is a fertility treatment. I did it, and on the first try, which is less than a 25% probability of happening, I got my baby girl, exactly what I wanted. So letting go really means letting go of the barriers that you put up in your mind that keep you from getting what you want. This happens a lot in relationships. Have you ever had a girlfriend or boyfriend and you wanted them to do something and then they did that thing, but they didn't do it the way you wanted them to do it? They didn't say I love you with enough enthusiasm, or they didn't paint the front steps the right color. They didn't do it exactly how you wanted it, so it didn't count. That's a perfect example of not letting go. One of the biggest commonalities that I see in all my manifestations is that they show up in ways that I could have never predicted. And if you're able to do this, it makes the last cherry on top step so effortless. This is the last step, and you'll have all the basic principles on how to manifest. It's having faith or believing that this is a possibility for you. Now, I know that can sound like a big ask, but guys, I'm telling you, this can be practiced. Belief can be practiced. It doesn't have to go from a non-believer to a total believer. And how I learned to get rock solid faith was simply keeping a book. The book's called Everything Always Works Out for Me. So when something is not working out for me, it goes in the book. And then when that turns into a magnificent miracle, I write the result. For example, I was desperate to buy a house here in New York City, or an apartment, and I missed out on this opportunity by 15 dinky thousand. Oh my gosh, I was crying tears in my purse, and today I am celebrating, I am praising the universe. I am so ecstatic that I did not buy that monstrosity. I would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in that transaction. You see, our minds need proof. Our minds search for evidence. and you have an ocean of evidence of this truth in your reality. Even the negative things. Like you could say it's negative growing up without a lot of money. You could say that that's a negative. But actually, all my cousins, my rich cousins, were jealous of me now. They're like, you're so lucky that you got to grow up poor. And I have to agree. It gave me everything I have now. It gave me this learning about the magic of money. It made me exceptionally grateful and feel richer every day because maybe I started at the bottom and everything else seems like added gravy. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Leave a comment below about how something negative looking in your life actually turned out to a raging positive. Do it because it builds evidence for other people to strengthen their belief. Now, I'm going to share with you the 6 signs to get everything you wanted fast.